Going live. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and at this time, I would like to give the opening to Councillor Bill Hiebert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My topic tonight is water. With one of the driest and hottest summers on record, I recently asked Troy Workington if there was a need to ration water in Stymic regarding sprinkling of lawns. Troy tells me that with our new water treatment plant, we have no concerns. This led me to look into the history of Steinbeck's public water system. It was 1956, and the population of Steinbeck was 2,688 people. At that time, 80% plus of families had outdoor toilets, making our harsh winters somewhat difficult to deal with. It was Mayor K.R. Barkman and his council that called for a public vote to build a waterworks infrastructure in Steinbach. The vote ended up being 367 for and 136 people opposing. This water project was the biggest capital venture the town had taken on in its history at $515,000, and it raised the mill rate by 3 mills, and it was financed over 19 years. Comparative dollars to in 1956 to today, that would be about $6 million for 2,600 people, so it was a substantial amount of money. It was October of 1956 that Mayor Barkman turned on the first fire hydrant in Steinbeck on Hanover Street. At that time, they had laid 10 miles of pipes, 30,192 feet of sewer, 27,588 feet of water main, 83 manholes, and 59 water hydrants. Not to forget the source of Steinbeck's water, Steinbeck was blessed with 2 deep wells, 250 feet into the underground spring, with a combined capacity of 900 gallons per minute. Benefits of the water system: installing the fire hydrants, house insurance rates dropped substantially, and in March of 1960, the older section of the EMC church on Main Street caught fire, destroying it, but with the help of fire hydrants, the fire department was able to save the new building, which at the time cost $130,000, right next to it. It stimulated growth in Steinbeck. By 1963, with the annexation of Northeast Town Line Road and a record-breaking building permits, the population of Steinbeck almost doubled in 7 years to 4,500 people. They called this the Waterworks boom. Personal benefits: the luxury of being able to turn on running water in your bathtub and enjoy a relaxing bath, not having to fight a cold, blistery winter storm to an outdoor privy. This alone was worth the cost of the Waterworks system. Thankfully, today we have kept on improving and growing our water system. Today we have 5 wells that draw water from the limestone aquifer. They range from 220 to 246 feet deep, drawing well over 3,000 gallons per minute. In distribution, we have over 90 kilometers of water piping interconnected to ensure fresh and safe drinking water. In addition, we have 635 fire hydrants for our fire protection. Water capacity today, we have 2 raw water reservoirs holding a total of 450,500 imperial gallons of water. We also have 3 treated water reservoirs holding a total of 2,075,315 gallons as well. This information was supplied by Mike Hepner's annual water report. Something to think about. Fact is, you can go 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. You can do without pretty much anything you can imagine, but without water, you die. Without quantity and quality water, your community, town, city ceases to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hiebert. Council, we have the agenda in front of us. I'm looking for a motion to adopt. Councillor Hiebert, second by Councillor Hiebert. Any comments?
No comments.
Any further? Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Council, we have the minutes of August 3rd, 2021, the regular council meeting. They start on page 1. We've all had a chance to review. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Swykstra. Any comments?
No comments.
Anything further? Call for the question. Yes? Oh, call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Councillor Hiebert got a little ahead of me.
Just.
Any business arising from minutes? Okay, seeing none. Council, it is just a little after 7:35, so we'll go directly into the public hearings. Council, 6A is the bylaw 2183. This is the OCP amendment. We're doing second reading today. It starts on page 3. At this point, I will close the council meeting, open the public hearing. Mr. Thiessen, could you please introduce this file?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. This is OCP Amendment Bylaw 2183. Applicant is HTFC Planning and Design, and the owner is Penco Construction Limited. First reading for this bylaw was given at the July 20 regular council meeting. Notices pursuant to the Planning Act have been completed for this file, and no registered objections have been received at this time. Under the official community planning official community plan amending bylaw 2183, the applicant seeks to redesignate a portion of the 67-acre subject property from residential policy area to commercial policy area. If approved, the amendment would support a proposed commercial component of the development with access from Park Road West. There are currently agricultural uses on the subject property located on Park Road West to the west of Clear Spring Mall property. Surrounding lands include a mix of residential, commercial, and industrial policy areas. The public hearing for this file is being held concurrently with the public hearing for rezoning bylaw 2184, with the public hearing in connection with the road openings under subdivision file 4451-2021-8466. Recommendation is for council to give this bylaw second reading subject to the outcome of the public hearing and subject to a development agreement. If second reading is given, the bylaw will be submitted to the Minister of Municipal Relations for approval before City Council may consider the bylaw for third reading.
Thank you, Mr. Thiessen. Is the applicant here today? Welcome. Take the podium. Please state your name and address, because everything just for the record, and then proceed.
My name is Adam Craker, speaking on behalf of HTFC Planning and Design. My address is 509 Craig Street, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councillors, for the opportunity to present this proposal to develop the 68-acre parcel of land located to the west of Clear Spring Mall. We are excited to present this development proposal that we believe will be a valuable addition to the city of Steinbach. The development will feature a wide variety of residential densities and housing types, ranging from single-family homes to multifamily apartment buildings, meeting the needs of people with a variety of income levels and household sizes. The development is designed to be a complete community, and the long-term plans are to include commercial, also a significant amount of parkland featuring a lake, picnic shelter, playgrounds, tennis court, soccer fields, and walking paths. We believe this proposed development fits the intentions of the City of Steinbach official community plan and satisfies the community plan's policies for future development. A number of examples include it supports a mix of housing. Following the official community plan policy 2.1.10, which says provision should be made for a wide variety of housing types. So this development provides a mix of housing types accommodating this variety of housing needs, including 127 single-family homes, both more low-density and more typical-sized lots. There's some 9 medium-density multifamily lots and Bearland condominium options that may include townhouse or other smaller multifamily buildings, and then a number of high-density multifamily or mixed-use development lots. These will provide potential residents with options, including starter homes, to meet the needs of young adults, apartments and condominiums to meet the needs of older adults who are downsizing, and other types of housing for people who are looking for options in between. Second point is that this includes parks, recreation, and active transportation trails for the benefit of all. It'll include approximately 16 acres of park and recreation amenities for the inhabitants here and other Steinbach residents. more than 23% of the entire property, and that's beyond the requirements in the development plan. The development will radiate out from a central lake or retention pond and surrounding green space. A recreational park area will be located across the street from the lake, and sidewalks, walking trails, and active transportation pathways will be located around these parks and throughout the other parts of the development. They'll also be connected to the existing Blind Creek Lettingham Bridge trails and the Clear Spring Mall area, offering valuable access points that will serve the whole city. These amenities will help to support several objectives of the official community plan, helping to preserve and enhance natural local environments that have aesthetic value, provide for an interconnected system of natural areas throughout the city, ensure adequate recreational opportunities for the city and region, and promote active transportation networks that include all forms of human-powered transport, such as walking, running, cycling, rollerblading, and wheelchair use. The development will also include improvements to the Blind Creek or Elmdale drain waterways, which will help to reduce the risk of flooding and protect and buffer areas adjacent to Steinbach's natural creek system from the negative impacts of urban development in accordance with the plans and the official policies in the official community plan. In terms of compatibility with the surrounding context, we believe that this will complement the existing adjacent and nearby land uses and will not be detrimental to nearby residents or negatively affect other properties or other development in the area. The parcel to the west is, like the site, currently agricultural land designated for future residential development. The commercial component of the site will complement the cluster of other commercial development in the area. The Clear Spring Center Mall and Walmart Supercenter are located immediately to the east of the parcel, while other commercial and industrial properties are located across Park Road West to the south of the property. Residents living in this new housing that is part of the development will be served with easy access to these commercial areas and areas of employment. Roads in or adjacent to the development will be upgraded or enhanced to accommodate any increase in traffic from the development, and this includes the section of Park Road West that is fronting the property, which will also be upgraded as part of this development. Provision will be made to accommodate connections to a future right-of-way to the north of the property, as well as to future residential development to the west of the property. Overall, we believe that this development will be a valuable addition to the city of Steinbach and is expected to complement existing and future adjacent land uses. Thank you for taking the time to consider this application.
Thank you. I'll just ask you to stay at the podium. Councillor, are there any questions for the applicant today? Okay, you can take your seat. Thank you. Now I'd like to ask if there are any comments, questions, or objections to this file.
Hello, my name is Tat Leong, chum of name architect, and I'm here representing the Freed family that owns a property immediately to the north of this property. And so I'm really just here for information purpose and observation, and I may have had my question answered by looking at the diagram up there, but I'm asking a question through you to Pencor HDFC, the proponent, what the intent would be on the diagram that I first had received. It seemed like the road heading northbound that would abut the free property was actually connecting to the free property. I see here in this diagram it shows a cul-de-sac ending, so it doesn't connect directly to the free property. But I did hear discussion about the intent for a future right-of-way connecting north. So if I could just have an explanation about what the intent is of that north driveway to the right on that diagram and how it connects to the free property, what the intended timing would be of that connection. So if I could hear about that, that'd be much appreciated.
Okay, Tafia, is that the only question you have at this time?
Yes.
Okay. Yep, we'll get the applicant to come answer.
Yes, thank you for the question. So yeah, as you can see here, the road that you are asking about is currently designed as a cul-de-sac to end there. This allows for I guess, accommodate. If this is the extent of the future growth, this is we could end the development right here, and it would just be a cul-de-sac ending. The future right-of-way that is indicated on the map is, I believe, based on city plans that go back some time. So we've just merely indicated that here. If there is intent to develop that parcel to the north, This cul-de-sac option also does give the possibility to extend this roadway into that area as well and connect to future plans. And so by leaving it like this, it remains flexible for the different options.
And you're comfortable with the answer? Yes. Okay, thank you. I will ask again, are there any comments, questions, or objections to this file? Okay, I'll ask one more time. Are there any comments, questions, or objections to this file? Okay, seeing none, I will now close the public hearing, open the council meeting. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Swykstra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will move to give the first reading to the, or sorry, second reading to the official community plan, the amendment.
Okay. The second by Councillor Hiebert. Go ahead, Councillor Swykstra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is certainly an exciting development. This is substantial here in terms of the 139 residential lots and the 2 public reserves and such. This is something I think we're all looking forward to seeing happen within Steinbach, and I've long wondered, when was this part of Steinbach going to get developed, and now we finally know the answer. Obviously, there are several components here that we have to go through. This is specifically regarding our official community plan. This is our planning document that sets, that we revise every 5 years, that sets the overall parameters for development within the city. And currently, under our official community plan, this entire section is designated residential. Because there is a component along Park Road West that would be commercial, we need to change that in order to make that possible. And we have to make sure that the zoning and the subdivision match what's in the official community plan. And so that's why the motion is to approve the amendment to allow for the redesignation of that section to commercial. But certainly when you look at the plan as a whole, I think this is very exciting and something that we can look forward to see being developed within Steinbach.
Thank you, Councillor Swykstra. Anything further, Councillor Hiebert?
I agree with Councillor Swykstra. This is great for Steinbach, but we have 68 acres here. It's a large piece of land. And when we look at the applicant talking about commercial residential development, and along with the commercial, it's obviously what the market in Steinbach is driving at this time. And therefore, it seems like a well thought out plan. When you look at the diagram and everything, it's really elaborate, and I think it's a great added feature, and I see no negative effects from amending or rezoning this official community plan.
Thank you. Anything further from council? Anything in closing?
Nope.
Thank you. Well, council, I too will support this motion. I do believe this is a very good development. I think the developer has thought of just about everything they can. This mixed use seems to be the way to go. We're seeing commercial and residential, different levels of residential living in harmony with recreation and park and just so many different aspects of development in every parcel nowadays, and it's really exciting to see that. It's exciting to see the green space that has been thought about, and how the active transportation has been integrated into every part of this plan, and that's why I want to support this. I think this is a great plan. There's plan for future growth. As you can see on the plan, there's a few different egresses where future growth can happen. And so I think this is the first step to amend our OCP so that this can work. And so council, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. So that is second reading. And now, council, this will go off to the minister for approval, come back, and we'll do third reading at a different time. Okay, council, we're going to move on to B and C. These are both dealing with this same piece of land. We're going to take them together. We'll deal with them separately, but we'll do the public hearing for these together. So at this point, I will again close the council meeting, open the public hearing, and Mr. Thiessen, can you please introduce these two files?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, as you mentioned, these two, subdivision 4451-2021-8466 and rezoning bylaw number 2184 are both related to the same property we were talking about when we're talking about bylaw 2183 there. So yes, notices pursuant to the Planning Act have been completed for these files, and as mentioned for the OCP amendment, no objections have been received. In regards to the subdivision, this file seeks council approval for a residential subdivision to create 139 residential parcels and 2 large public reserve parcels on a 68-acre land parcel. The proposed subdivision also seeks to widen an existing road, that's Clear Spring Drive, to be renamed Thresher Road, and open 8 new roads within the development. Road access for the development would be provided from Park Road West, which is just to the west of Clear Spring Mall property currently. Recommendation is for council to approve the application for subdivision 4451-2021-8466, subject to a development agreement and approval of rezoning bylaw 2184.
Thank you, Ms. Were you done? I'm sorry.
A little bit more on the rezoning bylaw.
Okay.
Rezoning bylaw 2184 is seeking to change the zoning of the parcel from Development Reserve 1 to a combination of the following: residential single family, residential low density, residential medium density, residential high density, and parks and recreation. The rezoning would support the developer proposal to redevelop the property to contain several residential areas with varying densities, as mentioned. And recommendation is for council to approve second reading of the rezoning bylaw number 2184, subject to the outcome of the public hearing and execution of a development agreement. Third reading will be scheduled for a future date.
Thank you, Mr. Thiessen. Mr. Craker, I know you are the applicant, or speaking on behalf of the applicant. Do you have anything new to add to the to these files?
Nothing new at this time.
Okay, because you gave a wonderful presentation on the first part, and these all relate to the same parcel. So if there's something new, great. But if not, then we can go right into the next part of this, which is objections and questions.
Nothing new.
Thank you. So I will ask if there are any questions, comments, or objections to this file. Okay, I will just ask one more time. We see none, but I'll ask one more time. Are there any questions, comments, or objections to these two files? Okay, seeing none, I will give one more opportunity to council. Are there any questions for the applicant at this time? No? Okay, then we will close the public hearing, open the council meeting. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Penner.
Motion to approve.
Second by Councillor Hiebert. Go right ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. This is, as was noted before, very exciting to see. Our lot inventory in Steinbach right now is getting quite slim, and with the opening of another development, that's definitely going to help with this. I hope this moves forward expeditiously, and it's great to see that the northwest quadrant is getting attention now as well for expansion. That we're not just focusing on one area, but we're seeing the developers focus on other areas as well. So this is exciting for the city of Steinbach.
Okay, thank you. Anything further?
I will agree with Councillor Penner, and I also believe this is a really good plan, and I'm looking forward to seeing it move.
Okay. Anything further of council? Anything in closing?
Nothing further.
Well, council, this is for the subdivision, and my comments are basically the same for this. Is the same piece of land, so I won't restate everything. So we'll go right into the I'll call for the question. So to approve the subdivision, call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, council. Now we'll do. I'm looking for a motion or asking council how would you like to proceed as far as the bylaw 2184? Councillor Swagstra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll give the motion for second reading.
Councillor Pinner, second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is obviously the same property in question. This is the rezoning, and just important to note that it's, as was noted during the presentation, a variety of uses: residential, single-family, low-density, medium-density, high-density. It'll be a mixed-use area. I think it's very exciting to see, and so it makes sense for us to do the rezoning.
Anything further?
Nothing further.
Anything further of council? Anything in closing? Well, council, as far as the bylaw 2184, I have nothing further to add, so I will go ask for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, thank you. We're done. Council will go directly into the D and E. Again, I think we'll take, because they're so similar, we'll take D and E together. We'll have the public hearing at the same time. And we will just later on deal with them separately by motion. So at this time, I will close the council meeting, open the public hearing. Mr. Thiessen, can you please introduce D and E?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'll start with rezoning bylaw number 2179. Owner and applicant for this file are Stonebridge Development Corporation. And first reading for this bylaw was given on July 20th, 2021. Notices pursuant to the Planning Act have been completed for this file, and some registered objections are on file at this time. The land under this application is designated as residential policy under the city's official community plan. The rezoning application under bylaw 2179 seeks to amend the zoning of the parcel from DR1, that's Development Reserve 1, to RSF, which is residential single-family zoning. Rezoning of this parcel would permit the final phase of this multi-phase residential development to be completed. This phase will see the creation of 33 single-family lots and a public reserve that will be set up to eventually include a path connecting to the existing Deerfield pathway. Recommendation for council is to approve second reading subject to a development agreement. In regards to subdivision file 4451-2021-8433, owner and applicant are also Stonebridge Development Corporation, and registered objections have been received. The application under subdivision file 4451-2021-8433 seeks to subdivide this final vacant parcel of farmland to create 33 single-family lots plus a large public reserve parcel as mentioned. The application also proposes to extend Windham Estate Drive to create Canterbury Cove and provide for future road stubs to neighboring properties. The subject property is currently designated residential policy area in the city's official community plan. Recommendation is for council to approve the subdivision file 4451-2021-8433 subject to a development agreement and to a final approval of rezoning bylaw 2179.
Thank you, Mr. Thiessen. Is the applicant present today?
At the end of the meeting, we need to excuse Susan and Jake. I think we can do it at the end.
Just
Hi.
state your name and address.
I am Cheryl Peters, 1205 Sherwin Road, Winnipeg, R3H0 Victor 1.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm excited to present our final phase of what's known as Hampton Village. We've completed, over the last 15-plus years, 120 acres of beautiful single-family, mostly homes, and we have 33 more lots to develop, and that is the final phase of construction. Looking forward to getting that completed. I know there's a huge demand in Steinbach now for lots. We sold a lot of lots last year, so we're out of inventory, the last 33 lots to come. We are following the original plan. We've actually, our last Winston Place subdivision was zoned multifamily, and there are single-family homes, putting less strain on the development infrastructure. And we could have built more lots than this, but we were building larger lots, so it's only 33 lots going in at this time. We have heard about some concerns in the neighborhood, mostly traffic-related construction traffic and traffic down the Wyndham Estate Drive. We are, aware of those concerns. Some traffic could be, there could be a stop sign, at the corner of Ashford and Wyndham Estate Drive, maybe speed bumps to slow down the traffic. I'm not sure what the solution is, but this was the intention. I believe the neighborhood can handle the traffic, and we're wanting to get it done so that the construction, isn't delayed over the next 10 years, that it gets wrapped up for the whole neighborhood to enjoy their beautiful setting. And that's it, if there's any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions for the applicant? I do have one question. I think we've seen on the pictures on the file on the map, there's a significant amount of green space that you've dedicated to this area as
Yes.
well.
Correct.
Can you explain some of that?
Yeah, we dedicated it to green space. There's some retainage ponds in the area, and it was an agreement that we made probably about 15 years ago or so with the city, and that's definitely enhances the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Swagstra?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to clarify, because I believe you said in your comments that this plan is consistent with what had originally been approved 15 years ago. Is that the case? Can you just sort of...
That is my understanding, that this was part of the plan right from the start.
Yep. And perhaps we could ask staff to clarify if that's correct?
Yes, could we-
Is this consistent with what was originally approved 15 years ago?
Yes, the overall concept plan was approved back in 2009, and this final phases of development is consistent with the overall concept plan that was approved.
Okay.
My question is for Mrs. Gaudette. So do you feel that the increased traffic and construction is just basically it's a one-year thing where everything's getting built at once because there's such a demand?
There is an increase in construction traffic because there is an increase in construction in this area. There happens to be a lot of development within this area in this year. We can't determine when that construction will end. There are new lots, as Winston Place was approved a few months ago, so there will be continuing construction within the area. However, in terms of traffic, the streets are designed to tolerate the levels of traffic that are experienced in this development.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions for the applicant? Okay, you can take a seat. We'll probably need to call on you again.
Okay.
At this time, I'd like to ask if there are any comments, questions, or objections to this file. Good evening. Okay, state your name and your address, just for the record.
Yep, for sure. My name's Ryan Canada, and I live at 78 Wyndham Estate Drive. I'd like to start. I have 2 young children, one of whom will begin grade 1 this fall, and will be walking to the bus stop along the very busy Wyndham Estate Drive. In the past year, I have called the city of Steinbach 3 times to inquire about the safety of the children walking to the bus stop with all of the current construction traffic. Despite those calls and the assurance by the bylaw officer who I spoke with, and he spoke with the construction companies, nothing changed. I have personally walked students down Wyndham due to the sheer volume of construction traffic because the children did not feel safe walking on their own. I know certain realtors have also sold lots within this current development, telling people and explaining the next phase could not occur until a second entrance was created. Where did that information come from, and what has changed between now and then? There's already a speeding problem on Wyndham without adding more traffic along with heavy trucks. In an email that I've seen from Lacey Gadet, she stated that there is a guideline for 120 lots per egress, which requires 2 entrances. Specifically, when you look at the number of lots from the corner of Ashford Lane and Wyndham, there will be 128 lots, including the proposed development. Hampton Village already has 400 single-family dwellings, which does not include the 106 Ashford multiplexes, 140 Collington condos, and the 108 new forthright properties. I also want to ask why the city would allow a realtor to put up a sign and pre-sell lots before approving this development. On page 3 of the official community plan, the vision states, to maintain and promote a safe, affordable, environmentally responsible community that prides itself on sustainable growth, a diverse economy, and being an inclusive, generous community. Is the safety of 128 homes with many children, a middle school, a daycare, worth the price of taxes that the city is going to collect from these 33 houses? I have perhaps maybe a possible solution. I don't know if it's came up, but perhaps the city or the developer could make a deal with the landowner bordering Lowen Boulevard to cross the land for construction access. The owner provides access to the land for the next phase out of the safety of traffic concerns. The developer then pays to return the field to its former state so that everyone is happy. We would like to ask the developer to do the right thing, work with the citizens and support our safety concerns. First and foremost is the safety of our children and also the peace of mind of the existing homeowners of Hampton, of a quiet, safe, peaceful street we have been led to believe that we would have. In closing, I'm not against continuing the development in the future when there is sufficient infrastructure to support it. But for the safety of all residents already living in the development, there needs to be 2 entrances before this next phase should be proceeded.
Okay. Any questions of council for the, go ahead.
Just wondering, did I hear you correctly? You suggesting that they make a road from this subdivision to Lowen Boulevard during the construction portion?
That could be a possible solution to cut down on construction traffic, yes.
Okay. Just make sure that I understood what you were saying. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. The biggest challenge with that is that the city nor the developer has control of that property. And there are challenges with that property too. There's a creek to cross, and it would be very costly to build a bridge to get construction trucks across that. Although, I mean, we can definitely ask the developer's right here, and we can definitely see what the response would be for you.
I do have a question for the developer, if I may proceed.
Okay.
You had mentioned that this is the last phase of this Hampton Village, but why are you showing roads that can continue on in the future? Like why didn't you put an extra lot there instead of continuing a road if you're not going to develop it anymore? And if that's the case, why not build the road now?
I don't own the land
You see, when we develop an area, there's a conceptual plan for the entire area. And so when you're building a road, you'll build it so that the developer coming after you can connect to it. And that's why if you look, even in some of those, like on the red, you see the skinnier, this, in between the lots, you see some of the skinnier ones. Those are for sidewalks, or, well, some of it's for, the one in the cul-de-sac there, that's for drainage. There won't be a sidewalk there. But on the smaller ones, there, like there where the arrow is, those will be sidewalks that will connect into Deerfield, and that's so we're doing that, and we're planning our developments that way, in such a way that we can connect them both with vehicular traffic and also by walking, skateboarding, you know, that kind of stuff, so that there's multiple ways to get from neighborhood to neighborhood. And that's why it's the future planning is why we do that. And yeah, the concept plan, they can sometimes change from time to time, but this one has stayed true to its original plan. It's always been planned like this.
So why would you, we're talking about actually on the first development of this evening, you talked about how positive the egresses were. So is this guideline, which states 120 lots per egress, we're over that just from Ashford Lane to the new development. So does that not come into effect?
You have a question?
A question for administration, please.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. Administration, currently, what is the amount of lots that will be at the single egress if this was to go through?
There will be more than the 120. However, the 120 lot limit before a second access is required for the purpose of emergency vehicles and to reduce the disruption of water supply if there happens to be a water main break. And it should be noted that it is a policy because it does allow the city to be flexible in terms of the development. It's not, the 120 lot is not regarding traffic. The traffic guidelines are followed by, in Canada, or the Transportation Association of Canada guidelines, and traffic will vary depending on the density of the development. And the streets are designed to handle the volume of traffic that is to be expected with this development.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
So, sorry, may I continue? So you're saying for emergency vehicles and water. So if somebody, to get to the emergency, say down in the new development, they're gonna fly down our street every time there's something that's going on.
Well, yes, they will take the, emergency vehicles take the quickest path
Yes.
to the emergency. They always do.
Yep.
They're trained drivers, they're trained for safety. Doesn't mean accidents can't happen or mistakes, but we have to trust that their training is effective and good. And yes, they will always take the fastest road, whatever that is. So I can't say what road it'll be because they will go
They'll
the
only
fastest.
take one road because there's only one entrance.
Well, they can take, it depends where they come from, they can take Ashford also, right? Okay? Is there anything further? Okay, thank you. Anyone here wanting to object, have questions, or concerns with this file? Hi there.
My name is Alicia Brown. I live at 6 Preston Place. I am the mother of 2 young boys. And I just wanted to say I object for the same reasons as Ryan Canada. He was very thorough in his explanation, and I do appreciate him coming here to say those things. And yeah, as a fellow resident, I also agree that there is a lot of traffic. there is at times construction that either blocks the entire road or allows it to be so narrow you can barely get a vehicle through. And even if we put all the construction and new development vehicles aside, to have another 33 families travel down that one route of Wyndham to leave the development, it just seems to be a little bit too much. I know the numbers say one thing, but living there says another. It's very busy. We're very active people. We are out on the streets walking our dogs, having our kids run across to play dates. We're very active. We're out there all the time, and it just seems like it's a little much. So I would just like to state I also object for those same reasons that Ryan Canada listed.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the, go ahead, Councillor Penn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. I should have asked Mr. Canada this as well. When you're talking with regards to traffic difficulties, I'm not entirely familiar, I haven't driven down Wyndham in this last construction season. Is it primarily one of the difficulties, the amount of construction vehicles that are parked on Wyndham, working on houses on Wyndham right now?
Yeah, I would say that's
that is one of the primary concerns, is with the added construction parking that the thoroughfare is being.
Yeah, they don't exactly listen to the signs where it says one, and I understand that you can't, when whatever job you're doing in construction. I'm in healthcare. Give me a grumpy gallbladder, I'm your girl. I don't know all this other stuff. But yeah, I understand you have to be on a certain side of the road to do certain things, but it just seems like they can be parked on both sides at times too, which can make it very difficult.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Elaine Beckett, 22 Wyndham Estate Drive. And I want to say that I heartily agree with everything that has been said so far from my partners out there. First of all, I have a couple of questions. I'm just wondering, has consideration been given for buses to turn around at the end of Wyndham? As it stands now, my grandchildren have to walk almost a mile to catch the bus. And as it stands, the mothers at that end of Wyndham are having to take turns driving the kids to and from the bus. And there's quite a congestion of cars stopping, waiting for the bus. And during the wintertime in 40 below, that hasn't been too great. Second question is, has a traffic count been done to consider the safety factor of adding more traffic to an already congested area? With only 2 access and exit points, we need to seriously consider the accessibility of emergency vehicles or other emergencies, especially during the start and end of school days, as I have noticed quite regularly. It's been pretty tight in that area when the school buses pull out. You really you cannot get through. The three new apartment blocks have just started filling the first building. The new development hasn't gotten anyone living in there yet, and now with these 33 new lots that we're looking at, there will be anywhere from 66 to 75 or more vehicles to be added daily to our 2 exits, and that'll be happening twice a day for sure. That's a concern of mine because that's going to.
Excuse me, Mrs. Beckett. Where are the apartments on Wyndham?
Well, they're not on
Okay,
Wyndham. They're in the Hampton.
Okay, this hearing is for Wyndham. So what we'll do is we'll stay focused on the Windham.
Oh, okay, so,
Okay, that's,
okay, because mention had been made about those forthright blocks.
okay, I
in the-
didn't catch that
already.
before.
Pardon me?
I didn't catch that before, I'm sorry.
Okay,
But
that was
I-
mentioned by the first individual.
Yeah, I just want to keep everyone on track. We're talking about the new development, and we're talking about Windham, okay?
Okay, so that does not, but everybody has to use those two exits and
Well,
entrances.
but the apartments don't use Windham. They won't be using Windham to come to their apartment. If you're talking about the apartments that are there, it's not part of the public hearing. Public hearing is for the subdivision.
Okay. The other question that I have is, what is the plan regarding sidewalks?
Actually, we can answer that question right now. I would just direct that to Lacey Gaudet. We do have sidewalk plan for there. Would you like to speak to that, Lacey?
The capital works for 2022 does have sidewalks being put in extending on the Ashford, both on the north and south side, and then continuing along that section of Windham to connect to that pathway that already goes to Clear Spring Middle School on the one end, and then there's a connection to the park on the other side.
And when will this be happening?
It is in the
2022 budget, so it'll be happening next summer.
Okay, so another school year has to go by
Yes.
before that happens.
Yeah, because it was approved or it'll be approved in November. Yeah,
Okay.
it's in process.
Okay, those are the only questions I had. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, can I ask a question of administration? Just
Go right ahead, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I just get clarification? Is the number 30 or 33? Because I know in the notice it says 33 lots, but in our other part of the package it says 30.
33.
33, okay.
I just have one more question. You were talking about the sidewalk. That's a great idea, but you're only covering 6 houses of about 128. That's not very helpful. How is that going to help the congestion of the traffic and the construction traffic? I can count out my window daily now of how many trucks and construction trucks are coming by, and I can guarantee you there's upwards of 100 a day. And if you want, I can count and come back at the next council meeting and tell you. But the 6 houses you're covering with a sidewalk isn't going to be sufficient enough.
Well, that's what's approved for 2022. I believe, is there more sidewalks coming in this area?
There will be sidewalks all the way down Windham Estate Drive. They are not scheduled in the capital budget as of yet.
Okay, so that's something we can start putting into the capital budget and start working on that as a council, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so there is more coming. This is what's been approved up to this point, okay?
Okay, so would it happen during construction of the new development that is planned?
Well, it will, like now, it can't happen till 2023 as we get into next budgets, right?
Okay.
So not immediately, but it would down the road, it would definitely come in.
Yeah, I understand down the road, but we want, you know what I mean? I know it's asking a lot, but if we're getting all this construction traffic now, it would be something to maybe to help out our community now.
And yes, we understand that, and we do see your point. Okay, we do see your struggle. It's not that we're unfeeling. We're going through some extraordinary circumstances in our community where we are developing basically at the speed of light. And there's lots of problems with that. And these are part of those problems. And that's why we're here tonight, to see what we can do best to going forwards and do fix these problems, right? And we are working with this, and this is why we're having this hearing, so that we can hear from you, and that we can, start plugging that into our program. And it takes time. Like, our government is slow at best of times, but we do hear you, and we are trying.
Okay, I understand it's going at the speed of light. These are 33 lots. You just had a development approved for 200-ish. Maybe you could hold off the 33 until there's some infrastructure there for us. Just a thought.
Okay, well, we're taking your comments into advisement, and we'll be going from there. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else with comments, questions, or objections to this file?
Hi there, my name is Caitlin Ho. I live at 66 Wyndham Estate Drive, which is the corner of Ashford and Wyndham, sort of right at the stop sign. That isn't really used as a stop sign, which is part of the concern. And just the high volume of traffic traveling from like Lyndhurst to Wyndham are moving very fast. No one stops. I have seen 2 people like blow the stop sign and hit the lamppost on the other side. So just the safety of everyone in the neighborhood, and just adding all of that extra traffic that's going to be constructing at Winston and Canterbury Place is pretty concerning, just because I watch it out my window every day. And I also just object to the concerns that Alicia and Ryan had about the development and just the safety of our neighborhood.
Thank you. Any questions for? That's everything? Kate, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll ask one more time. Is there anyone here with comments, questions, or objections to this file? Okay, seeing none. Mrs. Peters, would you like to answer some of the questions that were, those you can't answer, that's fine,
Certainly.
but
Yeah.
answer what you can.
We're concerned always about safety. Obviously, we're in land development and residential construction. It's always of utmost concern. We pay attention to that, and I understand the concerns, families living in construction areas. And like you mentioned earlier, it's part of building homes and building communities, which we in our city need. Obviously, we're bursting at the seams, which is a great problem to have. And we appreciate everybody's patience. It just takes a lot of equipment and manpower to get the roads put in and the houses built, and it's an interruption. I guess that's probably part of the urgency of let's just get this wrapped up. Let's provide the community. I think that we're probably one of the proposed developments that is ready to go to provide another 33 homes to the community. A lot of the other developments still have quite a few channels to go through. So infrastructure is there, the services come right to the property. It's going to be a fairly quick tie-in to add another 33 homes. And I appreciate all the comments that were made, and we'll do everything that we can do to make it as easy as we can make it.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
Any questions of council? Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. Do you know offhand currently if how many lots along Windham are currently or needing to still be developed?
I don't know exactly. We have sold all of our inventory. Most of them, I believe, are built on. There's a few in between that have not been constructed on. So everything that's been developed so far, with the exception of Winston Place, which the roads are in now, we're just waiting for the hydro and we've started construction. The rest of Wyndham Estate Drive is pretty much built on. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in your opinion, then, the expectation of parked construction vehicles on Windham next construction season is likely going to be reduced significantly?
Well, I would say that most of the parking in Winston will be in Winston, not on Wyndham. And the new development, that will come off of Wyndham, and they will be parking where the construction is. So I think there will be a lot less strain now that Winston is done. That will take a lot of trucks into the development to park. And the new 33 lots will also take them off of the main drag. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Just to clarify, so you're saying that Wyndham Estate Drive will empty from contractor vehicles because the Winston will take them up. They'll park on site or park
For sure.
there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see some of that, the traffic itself won't alleviate, but the parking will alleviate.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, unless there's any questions of council? Nope, then I'm good. I do have one question for administration. There was a question asked about traffic count and emergency vehicles. Now, I know a traffic count has not been done on Windham, but the emergency vehicle, can you elaborate a little bit as we're planning a development, how does emergency vehicles fit into that development?
So all developments have to have frontage and access for emergency vehicles to get into that development if and when required. The intent of the 120 lot limit, which is discussed, is not so much for the emergency vehicles, is so much as if there is an emergency vehicle within a neighborhood and it is blocked, that particular area, that other residents are able to go to and from the neighborhood. So for example, this one, which is requesting above the 120, if there is an accident and the street is blocked, it would affect those 128 properties.
Oh, okay, I understand now. Okay, got that. So you're looking at blockages, and that's why we're trying to keep that number lower, so it affects less people.
Yes,
When there's a blockage due to water or emergencies.
correct,
And that kind of stuff. Okay.
correct.
That's where, that's good. That does answer my question. Just looking. Okay, then I think at this time I will close the public hearing, open the council meeting. Council, how would you like to proceed? What we'll do now is we'll take the second reading of the rezoning first. And so, council, on the rezoning, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Swagstra?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make the motion for second reading on the rezoning.
Second by Councillor Penner. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whenever we have a development and when we have a proposal and we have concerns from the neighborhood, it's always a balancing act. We have to take a look at the overall needs of the city in regards to the development, and we also have to take in consideration the concerns that we have from neighbors, and that's why we hold these public hearings and weigh these factors. I think there's a couple things that are important to note here. One is that, as has been addressed, This is part of the long-term plan for that area. When the concept plan was originally approved about 15 years ago, this is how it was supposed to look in terms of including this final phase here with this neighborhood. And so the plan that's being put forward, I know that in some of the letters we'd received, there were some people that raised questions about, is there any special favor here or changes that have been made for the developer? And the answer is no. This is consistent with what had been planned on the long-term basis. Question that some might have is, why do we want a development? Why do we want to have these 33 additional lots? And I know that one of the comments that was made is that so that we can get the tax revenue. That is not the reason, because for every bit of tax revenue we get from a new property, we have to provide services for that property. It is not a financial windfall. It just simply isn't. In fact, development in the long term costs the city money because we have to provide more services. The reason that we want to have new lots within the city is that we want people who want to be able to live in Steinbeck to be able to do so. And that means our kids and grandkids are able to buy homes that aren't priced out of the market. When you have parts of our country, take a city like Vancouver, where you don't have enough land available for the people there, you get homes that are priced to such a point that people cannot live there. Now, we're obviously nowhere close to that point, but we are very low in regards to our inventory. Yes, there is that other neighborhood that we're in the process of approving, which would have 139 residential units, but that has not been done yet. There's still more that needs to be set there. But in a city of at least 16,000, 17,000 people, that's still actually a pretty small number of lots. And so we want neighborhoods to be able to be developed to their completion. Now, in regards to the issue of construction, yes, it is a challenge. It is a problem. Whenever you have a neighborhood that is not complete and there's another phase, there is going to be construction, and that is a significant inconvenience. Obviously, there have been concerns raised here that have to do with matters of enforcement, and so I would encourage everyone that if people are breaking the law, to report it to the police. I mean, if there are people and you see people that are regularly running stop signs and such, that should be reported. That way, the police know that that's an area that needs to be monitored more. But I don't think we're not going to stop the final completion of a long-planned neighborhood because of the fact that construction is going to take place for that completion to go ahead. For us to say that we're not going to allow these 33 lots to go in until some indefinite point in the future, well, that means that there are less homes available in Steinbeck. It means that the neighborhood remains incomplete. And it means that at some point in the future, you're going to have construction traffic, because obviously it's going to happen at some point. And if this is the final phase for the neighborhood, then once this is done, then it is done. But obviously, until a neighborhood is complete, until all phases are done, there is going to be construction that takes place, and that is the challenge. And it's a challenge we have in a growing city. And so I understand the concerns, and I think that some of those could be addressed through matters of enforcement. I think some of the concerns can also be addressed by that the parking problem should be largely alleviated in terms of where some of the construction traffic can go. But this is part of the challenge of being in a growing city. So the motion here in regards to the bylaw is to rezone this from Development Reserve 1, which is a holding pattern. We don't do anything with the Development Reserve. It's literally zoned that way until we know what's going to happen with it, and it's going to be rezoned to residential single family, and those will be 33 additional lots. And again, I want everyone who wants to be able to live in Steinbeck to be able to live in Steinbeck. That's why we need more lots, more properties, even though we have to deal with the inconvenience and the challenges that construction brings.
Thank you, Councillor Schweikster. Anything further?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's not much that I can add to that fine explanation, but I can relate to the individuals that are along Windham Estate. I myself live in Southland Estates, and we have one egress for probably a very similar amount of lots. So I understand that there is a considerable amount of traffic. I also have a 6-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son, so I definitely can sympathize with the challenges that come with construction. Having said that, though, I agree with Councillor Schweikster. As there is development and as there is construction, there are going to be growing pains. And that is unfortunately something that this neighborhood is currently going through, just as my neighborhood had gone through when it was being developed. And that is something that It may be a burden at this point in time, but I can assure you, once it is completed, as our development is now, it's a wonderful, safe place to enjoy, of having that single egress in the future. You have a lot less traffic in the future, and it is a wonderful design to live in. So that's why I will vote in favor of this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Penner. Anything further of council? Anything in closing? No. Well, council, this is a very difficult one because, and especially for me too, as Councillor Penner stated, I lived on South Park when they were building Clearwater, Alderwood and Edgewood. And yeah, the construction traffic, it's real. There's lots of it. But having said that, living through it, I do see the benefit of development. And in talking with the developer here, I do believe the developer in this case is trying to plan and time development, and so that it won't be hard. And what happened to work against her was a boom in Steinbach, and everything got built at one time. I believe the developer is trying to make a very good product that can sell, and a very good neighborhood that will be safe and will last for decades and decades and decades. And this developer has developed many developments in our community, and they're all functioning well, and they are safe and working. I know this is a matter of time. I feel so very much for the residents that are there, and I get it, because I lived construction ourselves, and we know what that's like. But I do believe that in the interest of the neighborhood, in the interest of the city, I think the best answer is to go forward as safely as possible. Sidewalks will be added, and we'll continue to add sidewalks, and we'll continue to add safety in that community, in that neighborhood. So council, I call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Mr. Thiessen, due to the volume of objectors, are we at the point where this could go to a municipal hearing?
Based on the number of objections we've received so far, it could, yes. So
Okay, so we're better to stop here and do third reading at a later date?
that's right, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, council, now we'll go to E. This is for this subdivision, 4451-2021-8433. This is subdividing Hampton Village Phase 8. How would you like to proceed?
Make the motion.
Yeah, Councillor Hiebert, and second by Councillor Hiebert. Go ahead, Councillor.
Mr. Mayor, what we have here is Phase 8 of a larger subdivision that has been going on for a number of years. I'm familiar with this area as I've walked it numerous times. I've ridden my bicycle there, and my wife and I quite often drive up and down that street just to look at the beautiful homes in that area. So I'm quite familiar, and as earlier reported, most of the houses on Wyndham Estate have been completed or are in the last stages of completion. What we have, though, is a Phase 8 on the northeast corner of Wyndham Estates. It's a subdivision. It's to allow the creation of 33 lots and the extension of Wyndham Estate Drive and the opening of Canterbury Cove. The application is in the final phase of a multi-phase residential development. The recommendation for council is, or was from our administration to approve it, but this is also going subject to development agreement that has to be made with the city. Further to this, I would like to thank the many people that attended here today and are concerned about their community, are concerned about the safety of their children, and I thank them for taking time to come here and come to council with their concerns. So thank you to all those people that did come and voice their concerns here to council today.
Thank you. Anything further?
I'll just add that I think this is a very nice development. This whole area, Hampton area, is a beautiful development, and to have it complete would be wonderful. I do respect the people's opinions. The fact of safety is also very important for the children of that area. And hopefully we can come up with some kind of ideas to slow down the traffic and see this to completion. And once this is all complete, I think it's going to be a great, great development.
Thank you. Anything further of council? Anything in closing? Well, council, I have very little to add. I just do want to thank Councillor Hiebert. You know, I was always taught there's always time to say thank you. And I think that was a good call. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, council, we'll move to 6F right now. This is variance V-2021-16. Refers to 43 Winston Place. At this time, we will close the council meeting, open the public hearing. Mr. Thiessen, could you please introduce this file?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is variance file V-2021-16 regarding 43 Winston Place. The owner of the property is Winston Bedford Limited, and applicant is G&E Homes Incorporated. Notices pursuant to the Planning Act have been completed and no registered objections have been received at this time. The application under file V-2021-16 seeks council approval to permit a rear yard setback of 20 feet where City of Steinbach zoning bylaw 2100 requires a minimum rear yard setback of 25 feet in the RSF, that's the residential single-family zone, and actually in all residential zones in the city. The subject property is a corner lot with an area of approximately 5,300 square feet, whereas the minimum lot area required for a lot in the RSF zone is 3,300 square feet. The developer only recently initiated this development with the zoning designation chosen as previously noted, the RSF, and the lot would appear to be more than sufficient to situate a single-family home on it without requiring a variance. Recommendation from administration at this time is for council to deny this variance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thiessen. Is the applicant here tonight? Okay, you probably know the drill. State your name and address.
Yeah, I got to watch all of it. Donnie Wolf, 15 Parkwood Cove, Steinbach. I'm here on behalf, actually, of the developer for Winston Place.
Okay.
It's for a variance for backyard to Lot 43, or Civic 43, Lot 12. We launched pre-sales in March of this year. Got some pretty good response to that, and this was actually one of the first sales that came into there. It's a premium lot. It backs the school and the walking path that's there. And it just so happened that the plan that the client fell in love with, we're offering 7 different plans kind of in our first phase of what we've launched there, was our largest plan, and rightfully so, considering it's a more premium lot that they're paying a premium dollar for. Therefore, they want a more premium style house on it. Unfortunately, in the early stages of it, in the pre-sales and kind of deposit process, all the details of this, especially considering the development isn't 100% complete at this time yet, a lot of the early legwork into getting permits and things like that isn't done until that point, at which we realized that this house encroaches almost 5 feet too far in the rear setback. So the request for the variance, as you know, is from a 25-foot setback to a 20-foot setback. In doing so for this, we've situated the house as good as possible without affecting any of the adjacent properties, considering it's a pie-shaped lot. The part of the house that actually affects the rear yard setback is at the center of the property, so it's the furthest part, or furthest away from the adjacent property lines. And considering there's another pie-shaped lot immediately to the left or the south of it, that house will be a little further away from that property line yet from that house. The one to the right side, that's where the biggest spread of side yard is on the house from there to the property line. The house that goes beside it, we have under construction. I believe it's, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's 4 or 5 foot side yard on that left side, so it is closer to that property line. But the way that this house was situated was to take that point as far away from that property line as possible. So that's all I got to say on that one. If you got any questions, I'm all ears.
Councillor, are there any questions for the applicant? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I have a question for you. You talk about this as the largest plan. It's a premium style house and fits this lot better. My question, I guess, to you is, being this premium style house, how many more of those houses are, it's a little off topic maybe, but how many more of these houses are going to go into that subdivision that will require exactly the same thing? Will require the setback?
Yeah, well, no.
I'm just wanting to know if this is a perpetual thing that's going to come to council.
No, it's not. This is not that something may come up in the future. The future is unknown. So, however, we are now knowing some of this stuff and now getting to the construction part of this development. Now we're doing a bit more of this legwork and being able to look at this stuff. This being earlier on and having a pre-launch, this one's maybe isolated compared to what might come up in the future. Knowing these corner lots don't facilitate this very well, we may tweak our plans to make them, you know, a similar size or a premium style, but still fit the lot a bit better. It's not that may not, you know, be an option if it doesn't, you know, go through, that we can make adjustments. This client in particular really likes it how it is and is just requesting that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anything further? Okay. Is there anyone here with questions, comments, or objections to this file? Okay, I'll ask one more time. Is there anyone here with comments, questions, or objections to this file? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing, open the council meeting. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councilor Penner?
Motion to approve.
Second by Councilor Hiebert. Go ahead, Councilor Penner.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. This is with regards to having the rear yard setback of 5 feet less than what is our standard building. It's important to note here that the only individual that is really being affected by this variance is the homeowner, and the homeowner is well aware that there's, I would imagine that they are requesting a variance for this. At the rear of the yard is a schoolyard with a fence on it. There were multiple different angles that I feel the developer could have gone. They could have chosen to go for a side yard setback and cinch the house forward. That would then be affecting other residents. And so I feel this is something that it is a unique lot. It is an oversized lot by over 2,000 square feet on a standard residential single family. So it's a large enough lot. The only thing that is being affected is the rear yard, and that is to the discretion of their own homeowner. So I have no reasons to not go forward with this.
Thank you. Anything further?
Nothing further to add.
Anything further of council? Anything in closing?
Nothing further.
Okay, council, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, council, we will, there's no delegation, no reports and recommendations of city manager. At this time, I would like to ask for a motion to excuse Councillor Penner and Councillor Siemens. Councillor Hiebert, you make a motion to approve or to
That's right.
excuse?
Yes.
Second by Councillor Swagstra. Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. We got 9A, we got the accounts payable at the back of the book. We've all had a chance to look at them. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Hiebert. Any comments?
No comments.
Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. 9B, the financial statements ending July 31st, 2021. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Hiebert. Second by Councillor Hiebert. Any comments?
No comments.
Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. 9C, council building permits for July. What a month. We had just an amazing month. Our total was one of the highest months I've ever seen. 27 million, just over 27 million. I mean, just to talk about a few highlights, we had on Woodhaven Avenue, we had a $3 million multifamily. We had also on Woodhaven, we at 236 Woodhaven, we had 1.3 for 6 townhouse dwellings and 1.7 for 8. But of course, the biggest permit is 18.5 million for office building on Market Boulevard. So that really brought us up. But there's a lot of commercial here. We're looking at the residential is just over $8 million. Commercial was almost 19 million, but 18.7 million. We have added 7 single-family dwellings this month and 35 multifamily for a total of 42 dwelling units were added to our community, that makes our year total for 138. But what is really, really amazing, we're having a great year because our year-to-date total for all permits is just over $61 million, with commercial being just over $34 million. So that just goes to show you, we talked about everything being built at once in town or in our city this year. That just goes to show you how strong development is in our community. And it's exciting time to be on council, exciting time to be looking at permits. And right now, we're just looking for a motion to approve. Do we have a motion to approve the permits? You guys, you're making me sweat. Councillor Hiebert. Second by Councillor Hiebert. Are there any more comments? Maybe I stole your thunder, but.
No further comments. It's a great year.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Okay. Well, anything of council? Okay. Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. We got 9D. We've got business licenses on page 38. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Swagstra. Second by Councillor Penner. Any comments?
Thank you, Mr. I'm in favor of approving these business licenses. I just want that on the record.
You bet. Everybody get that? Okay, call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. Okay, we've got 9E. This is bylaw 2181. We're going into third reading. This is Park Hill Public Reserve and Bush Farm Road widening. Mr. Thiessen, would you like to introduce this file?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is bylaw 2181 regarding Park Hill Phase 2 Public Reserve and Bush Farm Road widening. Purpose is to allow for the widening of Bush Farm Road and the creation of a public reserve for the purpose of drainage in that development. So yes, this bylaw is being introduced to create the parcel of public reserve lands as well as widening the road. between Mackenzie Avenue to a point 1/2 mile north. Recommendation from administration is for council to approve third reading of bylaw 2181.
Okay, council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Swykstra,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make the motion for third reading.
Councillor Hiebert, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We've obviously gone over this before. This allows for the widening of Bush Farm Road and also the creation of this parcel of public reserve, and is to enable further development in the area.
Thank you. Anything
Nothing
further?
further.
Any further of council? Anything in closing?
No.
Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Are there any questions of council? Okay, seeing none. Go to 11A. This is the S.T.A.R.S. Thank you letter that for the grant that we approved. Council, would you like to proceed? Take that as information?
Please.
Okay,
Very good information.
yes. Like I said before, I was taught there's always time to say thank you. There's no other business. Looking for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Hiebert. Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. The next regular council meeting is Tuesday, September 7th, 2021, 7:30.